Another installment of 2D Talks here, the Disney Pimpin Part 2 episode. Just a quick recap of Part 1. Well, Big Mick will promote that brand in any way, shape, form, or fashion, even if it deals with some sort of third world white girl magic and endless sexual subliminals in all their animated films. Other materials from Part 1, well, if you have a small business in K-Town, you'll probably get demolished, especially if you're in the hospitality trade. Downtown Disney was really set up to annihilate Orlando's downtown. They renamed it to Disney Springs after downtown Orlando got pretty much crushed and it no longer had that Miami-style kind of party atmosphere. Disclaimer. Once again, as usual, not meant to deface or defame any character, persons, or entities with this show. Just giving you this lecture here for informative, valuetainment purposes only. All just personal journeys up in the old town, aka the poor man's LA, so that you can do a comparison and contrast. A comparison and contrast of then and now. Was it really more fly back then? The party life in Orlando, pre-COVID? Is it more fly now, post-COVID? The party goers now in Orlando, what do you think? Personally, I think it was way flyer back then. It was incredibly fly. There was a lot to do back then in the Big O, and we're going to discuss a lot of things that happened within the club life in the O-Town back then, and how the major attractions here just cannot have money deviate too far away from the Big Mick. So another nice nostalgia piece here for your studies on the O-Town to see for yourself how this town continues to transform itself and keep itself in a big fat tourist box that no average person really can get out of. But it's fun to see this though. You know, you guys should have a fun ride here. I'm going to take you through a trip back in the day, how party life in Orlando was no doubt off the blockchain. This is how we used to do it. So unwind, get loose, chill, drink your CBD tea or whatever's clever to fall off never, and come check the creamy Casanova vibes inside 2D Talks. The smooth choice with the mellow voice. Dave Ski shouts out to Earth Scratch, Father Lux, J Mob, System D, Digga D 128, all the rack jobbers, the homies. Skyber Team's Code coming up, gather a couple bars so you can spit to this beat and have a few good times and laughs here on the most challenging planet, that third planet from the sun, this big blue balloon we call Earth. And you have now landed on 2D Talks.
Two dudes talking about all kinds.
2D Talks, y'all. Check it out. Let's get it in.
Yo, 2D Talks.
2DTAAKS.
Leave. Earth Scratch. Leave. Dave Ski. Yeah.
Live every day.
Live.
Like it's your last one. Yeah.
Big up Father Lux.
Gotta live, homie. Let's organize reasoning and knowledge. Spent 2 extra years to get through college. Doesn't really matter anymore, anyways, cause knowledge of the gods lasts more always.
All the way until this day.
Yup, all the way until this day. You wanna front? Yo, up and behold, yo, peace goes out to the gods.
Oh yeah, the gods. Dave Ski in the place to see with another one. Let y'all flow to the beat. Wait a minute, this is like some old happy MF Doom King T type ish. You know what? I'm gonna screw this down, let y'all flow, man. Alright, hold on. You say you can't flow to the beat? Yo, sorry, sir. Let's slow it down and kick it to the Behringer. RD8 with the analog cowbells. 1, 2, chop, screw. Beats. Check out the beats. Nah, I don't have a Behringer, man. Shit, I wish I did, man. Sweetwater got them. The Sweetwater website with the Behringer joint replica almost to the T of the old Roll an 808. Some good stuff online, man. Yeah, good sounds. Just doing my best here to create this little man cave vibe for y'all so we can kick it, talk some shit, comparison and contrast to these old clubs. Yeah, but the beat guys online are just like the black hole, man, like forever, infinity style. And I'm loving every minute of these dudes, man. You guys that were born in the Matrix and stuff, you guys don't understand how lucky you are, man, to have so much music like right at your fingertips. It's pretty awesome, man. Yeah. Loving those beat guys, man. I gotta give some props to those beat dudes. Who's in the house as far as the beats? J Smooth, Lonely Grind, Timothy Infinite, White Slime, Ramalo, Bad Man, Black Cafe, J Hunt, Luca Burr, Esco, Urban Nerd in the house too. All you guys, man. There's so many beat gods online right now. I'm loving every minute of it, man. Just catching a lot of good rhythms out there from these beat dudes. Always want to big those guys up. Pound to the chest 2 times, peace sign, throw it up in the air for these beat guys, man. Doing a really good job. But yeah, Dave Ski in effect mode, like a protect code, checking out the part 2 here. Orlando. Way back in the days. This is like BC era, really. Long time ago. I'm talking about how Orlando got suffocated by the major attractions. Before it got suffocated though, the party life here was pretty incredible. This is the reason why, mainly because Orlando puts you into a quicksand kind of mode when it comes to the jobs here, man. There's a lot of really weird job scams in Orlando, man. You would think a full-time job here meant you would kind of work 40 hours and then you have 2 days off and get your 40-hour check. A lot of times that's true, a lot of times that's not true because overtime is incorporated into the jobs. That was a major occurrence back then. That was huge, that was big time because a lot of times you had mandatory overtime. You had to work way more than 40 hours. So it was like a quicksand kind of feel. So because you work so hard, Orlando would party hard as a motherfucker, man. Orlando rack jobbers would party hard, man. So you had the quicksand workforce. It was just consuming. It consumes you with intent to take over your entire soul. And the management, their favorite words were,
"Can you stay? Can you stay? Can you come in early? You want some extra hours? You want to work Friday? Or you want to work Sunday?"
Every time it's your day off coming up, they approach you.
"You want to work some more hours? Can you come in? Can you stay?"
Broken record like a motherfucker, man. A lot of times that still happens now, but back then they used to have mandatory overtime. So when they would call mandatory, this is how funky and scammy these jobs are in Orlando. Back then it was like, well, before the shift ended, if they could approach you 2 hours before, then it would call mandatory overtime on you. So suckers got hip to the scheme. They were trying to hide when the manager was coming around looking for them. If they didn't hit that 2 hour minimum, if it was like an hour and 45 minutes, then they couldn't call mandatory overtime on you. So suckers usually would get hit with the mandatory overtime and you would find yourself working 14-hour days a lot of times. But back then, cats would do it because checks was fat, man. Checks was huge. Suckers pulling 40, 50, 60 G's. This might not be a lot in other cities, but in Orlando, if you're making 50-something grand in Orlando, man, you are stupid paid. Because Orlando's like it's a poor man's LA. It's a really fly city if you have money. So these rack jobber jobs back in the mid 90s, late 90s, cats would work them and clock stupid money. Nobody would quit. Nobody would quit the job. And suckers have all pockets full, man. Checks on top of checks. Even though by today's standards, 50 grand might not be a lot, but man, back in the 94, 95, 96, 98 era, you got 50 G's on you, clocking that much money a year. Man, cats was rolling. Cats was kind of rolling large a little bit, you know. So young 20s, mid 20s type of a vibe with that much money on you. Once you cop the fly whip, some good clothes, you're hitting the club scene looking kind of fly, pretty much verifiably fly. And straight up, most of us were all working at the PO, man, the post office. We were like we were doing rack jobber jobs out there, and I think the position was called like a part-time flexible or something like that. I was looking into making postmaster general, like an assistant postmaster general, because you could work your way up to the top. But then that shit was insane, man, how much lack of knowledge that we had, because there's no way in the world you could work in the post office for more than maybe 4 or 5 years. That shit was insane. I remember one night I got robbed, and luckily I wasn't even working that night. Motherfucker tried to take a rig. Check this out, man. Dude jumped prison fence, snuck into the post office, ran into a truck, tried to drive that shit off, and by the time he pulled out the gate, man, the cops were already there, man, blew the motherfucker away. And you had motherfuckers in the post office that was ready to blow him away too, because everybody's locker was laced with all kind of pistols. It's like, man, that old saying, going postal, that shit is so real. Crazy as fuck, man. I've never seen anything like it, man, working in the PO back then. Back in the early 90s era through maybe 96, I think. That shit was insane, man. So when we got laid off from the post office, we were clocking our unemployment checks, man, yo, that was almost a blessing to get a relief and to get some type of a break from that job. This is the quicksand workforce, man. Orlando will put that shit on you, man. Quicksand workforce like a mug. So once we got out of that shit, start getting those fat ass unemployment checks, man, we went into party mode like a motherfucker, man. We were just gonna jam it out, like go all the way live with it, man. We were gonna go out and jam every weekend, and that's exactly what we did. And this is the lineup of the clubs. Let's go over each one here. Every club had its own little different scene, own little different vibe. Let me try to go through it real quick. Downtown was the main area of the party goers. You had Orange Ave and Church Street were the main blocks. Jungle Gyms, Antigua's, Elements, Blue Room, the Beecham, the Social, Back Booth, the Edge, Cairo, which had the rooftop, the reggae jams on the rooftop joint. There were all different types of clubs for you to chill in and get to know the crowds there. Every time as you would hang out with a crew or your own clique, you would kind of follow a pattern, a process of the night that kind of flowed with what kind of vibe that you guys had. So the party really began when y'all got together before y'all went out. Like, we would not even go out until maybe 12. You know how it is, man. We won't even go out into the car and crank the car up until maybe 12. Probably about 11:45, we would get downtown and roll through downtown because everything was packed down there. And downtown would rock until like 2:30. So we would rock downtown maybe from 12:30 to 1:15. But let's roll it back real quick. We would get together at maybe 9:30 p.m. at Alvin's house. And Alvin had the macked out cool ass man cave. Nice little 2-bedroom joint, and we would have all kind of food and drinks and all kind of stuff at the pad. So this is how the man cave kind of set off the night. The man cave would set off the dope ass, good ass vibes, and then from there we would just take those vibes. We would take those vibes through the whole night, and it was very much a good, peaceful party vibe for the most part. So at the man cave spot, this is what kind of would go down. It had like a real good kind of a locker room feel, man. It was just wild, just like talking shit, mellowing out. You had 2 TVs on, maybe Rocco Sefferendi type bitches on one and sports on the other, both muted so we can hear each other talk shit. And you had the 3-cart Molly dudes just practicing their hustle, popping bottles, organizing the designated driver, dominoes, all kind of shit going on. But I wouldn't touch Nesto's buds. No, you don't know if he's lacing them shits with the egg, because he would have the year when he would bring a couple of bitches over to the spot. Average fine, cool bitches, you know, those bitches that like to hang out with dudes and chill, but they still look fine, but they just kind of like homies, you know. So kind of dumb because they trying to just sprinkle shit in the blunt and chilling with beers or liquor, little bit wine or champagne or some shit. I wasn't fucking with none of that shit. That shit was terrible. That was like the only bad part about the man cave, when Nesto used to bring the chicks to the man cave. I wasn't really with that shit. I mean, it was just supposed to be our kind of celebration type shit where dudes would just chill. Cats was rolling on up, coming together and drink a little bit before we hit the club. Figure out the plan, to lace the plan the right way so the designated drivers would be in full effect mode. And it would kind of get it messed up when Nesta would bring chicks over. Even though the vibe wasn't that bad, but every now and then the vibe got kind of bad, so they had to go their separate ways, and we would continue to chill on our type of a mode, which was more enjoyable. So every weekend was a different vibe that we had to kind of get it together first before we all ventured out into the club scene, and we patterned our clubs to where it would fit the vibe of that evening. You have bottles everywhere. I would be the pina colada man, like the old pina colada song. I would be that kind of guy. I would be bringing in the Pinky Suavo type drinks, the real cool, the real smooth, cool shit. Like I like the Bartles and James exotic berry stuff, or something cool like Zima mixed with Tanqueray, like gin soda. We would have to pace ourselves, so you would start real light at first. Every now and then, if the night was real ultra smooth and we had a good drink vibe going, then I would bring like a E&J with Kahlua, or maybe someone had Killian's Red. Y'all remember that Red Dog said? That Red Dog, man, that was crazy. But the pace, we'd have to organize the pace of the drinking because this is going to be an all-night thing. So we wouldn't get sloshed at the pad. We were just chilling with some wine coolers and stuff, something real light. So if chicks was there, usually the chicks couldn't really handle drinks, crazy drinks, drinks of our caliber, So they couldn't handle crazy drinks. What makes you think they're gonna be able to handle, a little snow bump booger sugar inside a Swisher Sweets mixed with Reggie's? Come on, man. The vibe. Usually the vibe was thrown off if that was to happen. So we try to keep it real mellow. And if I knew ahead of time that Nesta was going to bring booger sugar bitches over, then I wouldn't even kind of mellow at the pad. I would just kind of show up when Al was getting ready to go. So I would ride with Al because he was usually the best designated driver. So I would roll out with Al. And Nesto had the red IROC, which was crazy because that was like a popo magnet, man. Red IROC with tinnids, car full of Boricuas, Dominicans with chicks. Come on, man. We had to roll as inconspicuous as possible. I was pushing the black Knight Rider Pontiac Firebird at the time. We couldn't roll in either of those cars. So we rolled with Al. Al had the blue 4-door Altima joint. So we would set up all the rides. Once everything was set, boom, we'd hit it. And this would be our little pattern here of what we would do throughout the evening. So since we were in a nice inconspicuous ride, and Al was a really good driver, paying attention to all the laws and right-of-ways, street signals, everything, so we could just let the rhythms just flow, because he had a really good system in that car. Brand new Altima 4-door, I think there was 6x9s. He didn't put nothing in it, was all stock, and the sound system was really good. So we were kicking out all the jams back then. What was out? These are East Coast type dudes, so Al, most of the cats I was hanging with, New Yorican type dudes. And yeah, I would hang with the Soul Brothers, my homie Big City Red. I would hang out with Big City Red when I would want to chill on a Soul Brother type vibe. But most of the times, chilling out on those West Side clubs, them shits would get shot the fuck up. So the vibes hanging with these Boricua dudes, it was just a cooler vibe because the clubs we would go to, you wouldn't have to worry about none of that shit, man. You wouldn't have to worry about the place getting shot up, shit popping off. Everything was about drinking, chilling, and trying to hunt down flavorful females. So depending on the vibe, like I would hang out with my homie Big City Red, go out to some shit where, and I'll let you know about a story a little bit later in the show about how we hung out at the Palladium. Not too deep in the West Side, but the Palladium was Kirkman Universal area. And when that shit was big, when they brought down Big Pun and Fat Joe and Cocoa Brothers, they had some really good shows at the Palladium too. I mean, this was just, Orlando was just off the chain back then, man. So many different wild live times. But for the most part, I'll be hanging out with the Dominican posse and these Boricua dudes from New York. And in the Altima, Al would just be blazing up all the jams that were out. And we just have a good time, man. It was, trying to think what was out back then. It was the The Return of the Boom Bap album was heavy. The Channel Live album with the Ism song was heavy. Then you had the KRS-One Rapture joint was on. All that Fuji stuff, the score was real big. And the Unforgettable joint was pretty much the Busta Rhymes The Cummings album. When Woo-Ha dropped, Al would circulate the mixtapes. Me Too from the Northeast, to Clark Kent, Clue, Tony Toka, and Kid Capri. Every now and then we'll get a mixtape that was fly, pop it in there. And booyah, you know what I'm saying? The Busta Rhymes single would drop, the Woo-Ha joint. When the Woo-Ha first came out, man, that song, the little remix joint to the old Sugar Hill Gangs record, man, damn, that was a hell of a song, man. That was a wild time to see all these different transitions of hip-hop and different eras. But that Woo-Ha single, man, wow. The whole car would just knock, man, and the heads would just be bouncing to this song on the way to these clubs, and we would be partying in the car. The party never ended, and it was just flowing and floating along wherever we went. So it was probably 4 deep, 5 deep in this Altima, just knocking, going downtown, seeing what we could do. We would get downtown probably about like 12:15, and we would case the whole downtown. Like you know how it is. The cars rolling through, everybody showing off their rides downtown. You would see like 100 miniskirts every 6 minutes. And this was like Spody Odie Dopalicious all over the place. Attention whoring in real life. No internet shit. This was right in your face, man. And then if you had enough confidence to spit, then homies would spit. But since downtown was so packed and so convoluted, we didn't even really go to any clubs down there. We would just circle around, hot boxing the area. Orange Ave, Central, Pine, Church Street. Just kind of circling around. We wouldn't even try to get out and walk. We would roll the strip. One cat would get out and go get some brats. That's the one thing that downtown really did have that was really dope, was the brats down there. It's some of the worst food that you could ever eat, but they had some good brats though. The Polish kielbasa with it was like a poppy-seeded hoagie roll. I don't know if it was an Amorosa roll, but they had a poppy-seeded roll. One of the vendors down there that was really good, and they would just load it up. Onions, peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, sauerkraut, real all the way Chicago style with the black poppy seed on the outer roll. And you can get that. Yeah, it was kind of expensive though. It was like $10 or something for one. It was the worst food ever, man, but that shit would keep you going for at least 3 or 4 hours. It was good and terrible. Eating all the worst foods you could ever have. And I'm paying for all that shit now, man. I was a crazy man, bro. Crazy food, man. It's funny how that shit never existed. You would never see health food down there. Like anywhere, really. No kale burrito with Colby Jack cheese, maybe a slice of avocado, celery juice dipping sauce with some low-salt plantains with a tart cherry tonic. Man, you'll never see anything healthy. We never saw anything healthy down there. It was all just visceral food. But hey, nobody knew anything, so c'est la vie. These are just things that happen. And Al didn't really like motherfuckers eating in his car though, but if you got him a brat, a $10 brat, and $10 brat, chips and a cola, we would rock that all the way live to get our stomachs ready for the drinking. Because the club that we were gonna go to, the drinks were on point. Yeah, it was fly down there, bro. They had a good bar. Alright, so guess what club we hit every week? Take a guess. Off the beaten path, Spanish hotties with bodies, smooth, suave players getting their Mac on. Something about the party vibe of the Latin culture, man. This club really wasn't for Morenos. I wasn't even supposed to be going into this shit. But since I had this Rick Fox look and I can kind of blend in, I was like, let me check this shit out real quick. Whew, man, that shit turned my ass out, man. I couldn't believe this club was that fucking fly, man. That shit was wild.
Drum roll, please. Fourth Fighter Group, man.
The Fourth Fighter, man. They turned this airplane museum, some type of a war plane Rotary Club. They tricked it out, turned it into one of the baddest Latin nights anybody's ever seen. That shit was like a New York, Miami Latin night in one spot. 300 deep every time they would set it off. Sometimes that shit would be like 500 deep. Latin sweatbox party style. Anybody remember that club from the mid-90s? Fourth Fighter Group. What was it? Herndon, East Colonial down there? That shit was crazy. So gobbled up the brats, belly full of bread and grease, ready to hit the fourth fighter group, man, to get a groove on and see who could do the salsa the best. And they would rock until maybe, it would go like from 12:30 a.m. all the way to maybe 3:30, 4 a.m. Like iridescent ocean waves flowing. No conscious of time at all. I'm just living in a state of timelessness. You know how it is when you're partying like that. So, salsa, bachata, merengue, hands down, it was phenomenal. Every now and then they would throw on the Spanish freestyle music. Stevie B, Spring Love, Expose, Come Go With Me, all that Shannon stuff, Give Me Tonight, Planet Patrol, At Your Own Risk, you know, all that Juanito Rivera type stuff. They would jam that every now and then, but cats wouldn't get down to that though. They would, when that shit came on, you would just take a break and go get some more drinks. Because that club, it was special, man, for the moves. Like, it reminded me of the skate rinks. When cats would go there that knew how to skate, they just trying to go to practice and show off their moves. So when you would go to the fourth fighter, man, dudes, they would be coming in there to do the salsa like a motherfucker, man. They would be showing off moves on top of moves. It's like a straight up high class dance competition going on up in that motherfucker, man. So every now and then they would take a break and play the other shit, and they would play house music a little bit too. The old school house, the Gwen Guthrie type shit. But then they would play reggaeton every now and then. They couldn't play it a lot because you could sense the energy shifting when they would put reggaeton on. When Daddy Yankee first came out, when Evie Queen was big, they couldn't play that shit a lot, man. The Bill Blass shit, man, the energy would change and you would see motherfuckers start getting rough. They would have to really throw that salsa back on there so the classy motherfuckers could get back into the dance routines. So the fourth fighter would rock until 3, a little bit past 3. So we would blaze out of there about 3:30. And from there, if the flow was still going and the vibe was still right, then booyakasha, we would hit the strip clubs, man. Maitland, they had the bomb-ass strip clubs over there, man. Club Wanna, Circus, and HOB's, House of Babes. And this is how it went down. Right after this quick message. Imagine digital concierge freelancing from home, Skyber app, y'all. Check it out and practice group economics right from your home. Get your daily usage on and earn up to $400 rewards and commissions. You can get $400 on one payout. Check skyber.org for all the FAQs and details. It's Group Economics 101. Pay your kid for chores, for example. Skyber might match that. Earn up to $400 on one payout. And as always, if you want to show some love to the show, hit up our SQP number 407-260-8186. Skyber Quick Pay, y'all. 407-260-8186. Check them out. Make your profile today. Skyber, y'all. Check it out. Just search Skyber Service on Google Play and the App Store.
The only payment app that pays you to use it.
How about that?
Okay, back to the show.
Skyber.org.
So 7 through 10, average Poppy Chulo type dudes going to the strip club. And it just breaks my whole mind to think back then that all this actually existed inside of this crazy, mysterious Disney code that they really didn't like. I mean, none of the attractions really liked what was going on. You can kind of feel it right when they opened up downtown Disney. But until then, man, it was just so off the chain. You had clubs like this, like House of Babes was the most top-rated strip club out here. It was just wild, man, to see this. Club Wanna, you had a few on OBT. Then you had the Ebony's, which was in Cleo's. And Cleo's, I think, still rocks today, but it's just not the same at all, man. This was like really bona fide cool back then, and we would walk in there maybe 10 deep, get our little section. The VIP section was real easy to do back then, and they would hook us up. There wouldn't be no alcohol in there though. That's the one thing about HOBs, they didn't allow that. They didn't want nobody getting sloshed up in there because you had full nude females. So, but we would still have our swagalicious moments. We would still rise up in there with some swag because we would already be kind of buzzed from downing all those B-52s and all those Heinekens from the fourth fighter. And also, you would have massage parlors right next to the House of Babes, but we weren't going that far. We would just kind of stick around House of Babes, HOBs, and chill, and just get to know the strippers in there, man. Just to get to know them. We was chilling with them. It was regulars, bro. We just, every week we was over there, so it was corny, but we was having fun, man. We were going in there as playeristic dudes, and the chicks liked playeristic dudes. But we weren't thinking about no turnout type of action, you know. We weren't in the mindset of a P. It wasn't no Cali type of a vibe. Even though if any of the people in the clique were in a Cali vibe, they could have pulled and turned out and started doing some P work, because the chicks, they were all kind of freaks a little bit. And since it was like all nude lap dances, and you had chicks would throw titties in your face and you could suck on titties, and they would be showing off their brand new titties, and some of those chicks were freaks. So you could put big cash on the table, and if a chick was down, she would leave with you. But we didn't have to do none of that shit, man. We were just partying. Lap dances were $10 a pop. You could order 4 songs. We would order like maybe 5 or 6 songs between 3 chicks. They would serve up some nice lap dances, and this was towards the end of the reign. Like, it would go to about maybe 5 o'clock. So you would kind of party and chill from like maybe 3:30 to 4, 3:30 to 4:30. Get a couple of lap dances on the last run. Maybe you start your lap dance if you want them, maybe like 4:15. Then you can see which ones are really which ones in the club are really the freakazoids that would send you home with a couple good thoughts. So it's funny because nowadays I'm thinking to myself, wow, if anybody in the clique was a strong-minded P, instead of a player average everyday straight bumper bitch, my gold ring is come from spits. We were like players in a Too Short mentality, not straight P, but just straight playeristic style. We were all looking kind of dapper, verifiably fly, and then the chicks that were the regulars, they knew, the chicks that were in there that were regular strippers, they knew when we came in there, it was time for them to make a little money, because we would let them shine. We would kind of throw a little something in the air for them, and that was a funky kind of addiction when you get addicted to the strip clubs, because it was like they were just so damn cool, man. The strippers that we were interacting with were just so damn cool. You know, they would come to the table and they would just kind of serve us like all smiles, happy as fuck, giggle train like a motherfucker.
Which one of you guys are getting the dances tonight so I can get ready for y'all?
You know what I mean? The customer service was on point. So just to think back and wonder about that, like, wow, motherfucker had a P mindset, could have went in there and snatched 2 fine ass bitches and just turned them out, start slinging ass. But nah, you know what I mean? It's like, man, nah, hell nah, that shit never went down in the O. Even though you had players in the O that would kind of flip and get turned out and run the hotel gamuts over on I-Drive and a little bit in the 26 Hotel Throwdown OIA area. Yup, right by the airport, man. They really built that shit up, man. They made that shit into a new miniature international drive over there. And you would see P's working it right before the COVID hit. But nah, it very much was not a Cali vibe at all, man. It was nothing like that type of action. Plus, we were so young, man. We were just trying to get our player on, you know. You would have P's running little things here and there, but I mean, nah, that shit wasn't really, it was very much a rare occurrence to see that type of action going in and out of different establishments. I drive the back page action, the old Denny's over there across the street from Wet n Wild, and when Wet n Wild used to be there, they had action, but it was rare, man. Everything was about the strip clubs back then. 94, 95, all the way till like 2005, it was all about the strip clubs, man, because the strip clubs was just so fly here. Orlando had the shit on lock, man. It was crazy live. We were just party heads, man. It's funny how it was very similar to the Miami, Tampa vibe, man. You know what I mean? Strip clubs, that was like a really good strip club area. That Maitland area, man, that Maitland area was just plush. And then the strip clubs were just like laid out, man. It was fly. Yeah, full nudity, cheap lap dances. You could rock for a long time. It was like a Miami vibe, like a mug, man. You couldn't get no type of action. You couldn't even get no type of action like that in Tampa. Man, and yo, Disney and them, they were feeling it, man. They were like, yo, we can't be having this, man. This is supposed to be a family town. So you could feel something bubbling, you know what I mean? You could feel something in the air that, yo, they getting ready to shut this shit down, man. Slowly but surely, you know? Can't be having motherfuckers around here having fun. Real fun with hoes, strippers, clubs, drinking, smoking, chilling like a motherfucker. Man, gotta shut that shit down. Shut the Diz down, baby. Motherfuckers out here having fun? Man, Disney was like, man, they made up their own downtown. They said, y'all can shut that shit down. Get your ass back to work like a straight up pimp. Made everybody go back to being wage slaves and took all that club's life. Did a 360 on that shit. So we had mad fun while we could. Enjoyed it while it lasted. Straight up. But we were just kicking it, man. So many awesome memories of this town. We were just kicking it like players, and I was just a wannabe player trying to see what was up, hanging out, having a good ass time. And the funniest thing about it, from there we would go to the last club of the night, the after hours joint, after the strip club would close at 5 o'clock. And Nesto would kind of pull 2 regular stripper chicks that liked us all as a posse, and then we would roll out to the last club of the night, which was the Velvet Rope, and that was by Colonial and OBT, that corner, and there was a little hole in the wall spot that they really dressed up real nice, and they called it the Velvet Rope. And they had these purple velvet, you know, the regular purple carpet thing, and they would have the door real fancy. You would walk in, it would be like Mellow Dub playing. So Cats was in there jamming, trying to ease off their buzz that they had the previous night, because you know you needed a mellow type of a dub action vibe just to get that buzz off you. So from there, it was kind of fun to see the stripper chicks go back to their locker room, change into the regular clothes, and they would come out and we would all roll down there. And so it would be like maybe 3 cars deep, 3 to 4 people in each car. And we would go down there, me, Al, Nesto, all the crew, Alex and them, like a nice little posse, going down to the Velvet Rope. And they nicknamed it the Purple Velvet. Chilling a little bit after I was joined smooth. From there, we would still be in a party mode, so it would be like maybe probably about 6:45, 7 a.m. Then we would go either to the stripper's house for breakfast, or we would have breakfast back at Alvin's apartment. Now, if he would go to the stripper's apartment for breakfast, then Nesto would get into his little game plan and try to smash, but he'd be so stupid. He'd be like, yo, man, we could have had the bitches, man. Just a little bit more time. I'm like, nigga, it's damn 7 in the morning, man. It's the give up point. Let's get the hell out of here. And Nesto was always like, yo, we could have had the bitches. You know, he was like, he was just a thirsty Dominican cat, light-skinned Dominican cat. And later on down the line, I kind of knew what the fuck the problem was, man. I was like, yo, fly-ass, blonde, white stripper chicks, they were never gonna just give ass action to Boricua, Dominican black motherfuckers on some just giving it up type shit, man. Come on, man. That shit was never gonna happen. Even though we were all cool as shit. We were cool with these strippers, man. We knew them for like months. Some of the dudes in our posse knew these chicks for like a year, 2 years. But they weren't coming out them girls, man. They were just regular strippers, man. And then trying to get their little money, and they was hanging out with the cool, chummy type of a vibe. But you know, in the back of our minds, we would always think about hitting it. But it was just awesome fun shit, man. That shit was just too damn fun. But Nesta always wanted to smash. And then motherfucker just wouldn't smash. You know, the vibe was never like that. But they would come close though, but then they'd kick us the fuck out. We'd have to go to Alvin's house and then chill, do a kickback there or some breakfast. The same old shit, man. They look like hoes, but they're not hoes. The old David Chappelle joke where they got the uniform on, but they're not really that. And that kind of turned digital today with all these platforms. They all dressing like hoes, and you'll see chicks flapping that booty like a mud flap, but they just classify themselves as regular chicks and not hoes. Just a strange thing, but back then it was reality. It wasn't no digital virtual platform. It was actually real chicks doing the do, and then you would approach them like that, but they'll be like, nah, we're not hoes. And then I guess Nesto got kind of frustrated, but most motherfuckers got frustrated on that shit. But most of the people in the posse knew how to take it. Like, all right, man, they're not fucking around. They're just strippers trying to make some extra money on the side and shit. Even though sometimes seemingly they would actually be hoes, because they would feel like the whole vibe would come out every now and then, but they were not smashing at all, man. Not being 18 through 26 white chicks with dark-skinned, light-skinned Dominican and Boricua niggas, man. They wasn't doing that shit at all. They wouldn't fucking around. White chicks would roll with you like friends, and Nesto couldn't get over that shit. Couldn't stand that shit. We would always ride back to the crib with Smooth the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler's record. Broken Language would come on. What's it called? Broken English or something like that? The Trigger the Gambler, Smooth the Hustler record would play just to get Nesto's ego back up, so he would feel more comfortable. And we would just man cave in the car until we got back to Al's house for breakfast. Then from there, after breakfast was over, maybe like 9:30 a.m., we would all go home, go to sleep, pass the fuck out there, or go home and pass the fuck out at the crib. And then do that shit all over again the following night, which was the Saturday night crew. Take a trip down another wild Saturday night, schooly school style, right? I'll give you like a little bitty mini story here, because sometimes we would switch up depending on the vibe once again. So one particular Saturday night, I'm gonna tell you about Big City real quick. This was a crazy night too, man. Like Big City Red, my homie that I used to go to high school with, he's a phenomenal player, man. This guy taught me about all the Southern, Midwestern, West Coast playeristic styles. Like I didn't even know too much about April, MJG and them, Suave House. I heard of Gangsta Pat, Project Pat, Gangsta Boo, Al Capone and them. I just wasn't really getting into the Tennessee Pimp Funk. I didn't even really kind of get in it until Big City Red kind of hit me off to it. He was jamming out the first two April MGG albums, and then the first Southern Playalistic, and the second Outkast album. We used to bump that in his car, his Cadillac, and I was kind of getting the vibe of it. It was kind of dope. The pimp flavor of all that shit was real dope. That was like one thing that kind of drew me in. So I kind of got a lot of influence from the Southern Playalistic vibes from Big City Red, because it was very incredibly organic when you bumping Memphis, Atlanta, Houston, Oakland, the Bay, Louisiana, pimp funk inside of the Cadillac. Luda, Cast, A3000 kind of vibe from this guy. And how relatable all the Memphis stuff was relatable to the Southern takeover Atlanta, then it stretched out to Northern California, the Bay, and how all that was kind of mixed up, as Master P calls it, a nice big Louisiana pot of funk gumbo. So totally different vibe going on here. Boricua, no. Dominican, no. Nuyorican, no. This was straight up Southern chillin' circuit style vibes here. And it was dope, man. It was fly. It was fresh. This guy... Alright, let's try to give you the imagery of this Cadillac here. Big City Red would always roll Broham Cadillacs, man. Clean, major league clean Broham Cadillacs. I'm trying to think if he had Trues and Vogues. Usually Trues and Vogues were heavily involved. Remember, he had a UPS brown plush, brown soft interior, oak steering wheel, AC, colder than an iceberg slam handshake, dice in the mirror, all the cool ass accessories inside the lag. So the whole orange mount was in the Cadillac, man. Coming out hard, top of the world, Swap House, funk banger, bowling ball, nut swanger. All that shit was just flowing inside of the lag. I mean, that was one of my favorite songs after I caught the influence from Big City Red. Alright, had a nice mini bar inside the glove compartment. Little Reg, little Za maybe inside the glove compartment with the mini bar. Two dope boys in a Cadillac, AT-Alien style, all that Southern chitlin' playalistic style was just flowing inside this lag throughout the night. Crazy fly. This is all just straight up platinum member style ghetto customer service inside of these lacks here. Dice had the whole shit plush. You can get anything you want. The whole car was set up like the Hilton because you can fit probably 4 mid-sized ladies in the back seat of this car. I mean, Broham Cadillacs, when they were brand new, that shit was incredible. Okay, quick little story, then we'll get out of here. Hanging with Dice on a wild Saturday night like school to school, we went to the Palladium, over there by Universal behind the old wet block, on a, check this out, male review night. Crazy as fuck. I know this just sounds alternative lifestyle like a motherfucker, but this is the first time I really started a peep game. From the West Orlando kind of players mode. Like some Bill Bellamy type shit. Players mode, players like a motherfucker, taking no prisoners. Big City Red had on a straw fedora hat, wearing kind of like that all white kind of hippie but dressy mode. Kind of like if y'all ever see the Love Movement album cover by Tribe Called Quest on the back when Q-Tip had on his all white and they were all dressed in all white, real hippie style, lover boy kind of style. He was rocking that kind of an outfit. Threw me off guard, but I was peeping his plan though. I was like, man, I ain't no way in the world I'm rolling to no male review, man. I ain't doing this shit. This is crazy. And then Big City kind of whispered in my ear. He was like, Dave, man, do you know how many hoes is gonna be at this event? It's gonna be like Freaknik in Orlando. And that shit reminded me a lot of if y'all remember Dancing Bear. And that shit came out years ago, Dancing Bear style. And it was straight up like that, man. We walked in, cased the whole joint, ebonies for miles around, wearing all kind of scantily clad clothes. Went to the top. The VIP section was at the top, looking down on the stage. Saw the stage, dudes just coming out, serving up these stripper moves for these females. When I peeped the stage, saw the dude come out looking like Boogaloo Shrimp with the Jerichos down the back. Had a bodybuilder's build, no doubt. Then he took off his trench coat. Once he took the trench coat off like a kabuki drop, 30 black chicks just jumped him, rushed the stage and jumped right for his Johnson. Right for his Slim Jim. And they had the bodyguards had to make sure the shit was safe, and he had to back up continuous moves with a sharp eye looking at the bodyguard bouncer dude. But that shit was crazy funny as fuck, man. I was like, wow. So, and then Big City Red was looking over the rails like, hey bruh, I told you, man. And these ebonies is thirsty too, dog. It's time, my brother. Long story short, I don't know what happened for the rest of the night. I got so buzzed and I was feeling so good. I think I passed out. I'm not sure what the hell happened, man. But I called Big City Red the next day and I was like, yo, man, what went down? What happened? I kind of lost track, man. We came out the spot and the only thing I can remember is we came out the spot. He had on a fishnet see-through shirt. Big City was pumped. He had he had a slim athletic build as well. And the only thing I can remember from the actioning of the club, he took his fedora hat off, the straw fedora, took off the shirt, looked at the line of ladies trying to get in, and he was like,
hey y'all, after party at my house, let's go, let's hit it.
And then we just kind of walked up. I was cracking up laughing like a motherfucker. Got back in the lack, peeled off, continuing to bump the cell therapy, AT-Aliens, Suave House, 8-Ball MJG out the parking lot. Then I don't even remember what the hell happened too much after that. We went to a couple of after-hour spots, but then I woke up the next day, called Big City Red, and asked him what happened. And he was like, oh man, boy, he was like in a southern kind of accent. He was like, boy, you done had yourself a players weekend, my brother. I was like, word. And that's why years later, man, I had to stop all that damn drinking because I never want to not remember what the hell happened on the previous night. But just to give you guys a memory here, a little nostalgia of the old town and the story here with Big City Red. So all that shit changed, man, since back in the days. Orlando, they ain't not having it, bro. You know what I mean? All that shit got crushed. It's like House of Babes turned to House of Blues. Doing a walk downtown in the city turned to City Walk. Disney Universal, you know what I mean? Downtown just didn't have that flavor no more. All that shit got turned around, man, by the attractions. I mean, that could be very wrong. You know, I'm an old man. I don't know what's out there no more. All I know, there might be a Latin night at Boardwalk Bowl nowadays. that Latin night ain't really nothing, man. It don't look that good at all up in there. Smelled like burnt crust pizza up in there. And, you know, from working all the hotel gamuts here, all these concierge desks, all these hotel conglomerates, I remember dudes used to come to the concierge desk and they would be looking for hoes, any type of party life. Remember dudes would come in and look and try to find out if there's a party going on, just to squander up some hoes, even on Easter Sunday, like Saturday night into Easter morning. Dudes would just come to the desk, hey man,
Where are the bitches? Where's the parties at around here, man? Where's the life at? Sup?
I was like, man, it ain't even like that no more. Dudes was that thirsty for a party, man. They was looking for hoes on Easter Sunday, man. But hey, anybody out there that's a party goer, I mean, I'm looking at the shift. Everything is shifted toward music festival vibes. So that might still be the vibe now. I don't know, I'm not sure. But with Coachella, Rolling Loud, Governor's Ball, all that type of shit, is that still in effect? Not sure. If it is it still fly? Not sure. Y'all hit me up in the comments and let me know. But it's very different, man. Orlando's different because the attractions ain't playing around. They want you to spend money solely at the parks, and that's it, man. Ain't no messing around over here, dog. Orlando's a monster, man. I'm looking at this list here, trying to see if anything's really popping. I'm on the Googles right now. I don't really see them too fly. Okay, you got the regulars. You got the Beecham, the Eve. I'm not sure what that is. Mango. They're trying to copycat Miami a little bit. Vice Lounge, Tiered Nightclub, Independent Bar, Attic, Cuba Libre. All this stuff is iDrive, man. Cowboys. That's the NASCAR style red coconut. These are all universal, regular, alternative lifestyle, classy, kind of regular clubs. Nothing off the beaten path is on the Googles right now. Y'all let me know though. If y'all let me know in the comments, I can check it out. But I just don't see it, man. I don't see nothing that was fly as it was back in the day. Is Vision still open? Visions might still be popping. That was popping in 2019. They had a Latin night on some all funky nights, like they used to have it on Monday night over there at Visions. Yeah, but nothing jumps off the page that feels like it's gonna be popping. They don't even have Firestone on there no more. What was the other one? Firestone or Club Envy in K-Town. They don't even post up too much info on that one though. I would call first if anybody wanted to go out there, but they say it's SOB Trail, K-Town, 34746. I don't know about that one. And then Club Guilt took over the Roxy's down there on Bennett Road. Man, might have to bring your Kevlar out for that one. Looking at the reviews here, might be some young ass G's coming up in there. So y'all just be careful, watch yourself. They packing 800 deep in that club, man. Wow, watch out for that one. But if something's popping off in K-Town, y'all let me know. I'll shout y'all out. Give you some shine on the club scene. But as far as the Googles right now, man, I don't see it, bro. Ain't nothing really jumping off the pages right now. This is top 10 nightlife on a couple of the websites online, you can see. But that's it for me. And also, just another side note here in this little lecture talk. I wasn't really trying to put out a Kevin Sam vibe at all. We weren't really professional tricks, even though this show might come off like that, but we weren't trying to be no professional tricks at all. Those saying it ain't tricking if you had it, we kind of had that kind of mentality. It ain't tricking if you got it. So, and that's a jacked up saying. People don't like that saying, but hey, fuck it, man. We were just having some fun. We were kids, bro. What the hell? Hip ass squares trying to chill, be players and shit. You know, 20 through 32. Maybe the oldest dude in the clique was probably 32. So if you walk around with 15, 20, 25, 30 G's in the bank, yeah, I mean, it was like, we just having fun, man. We weren't really trying to be no professional tricks. Most of the dudes in the different posses were players, but they just didn't flip into P mode because we weren't in that mentality. And even though that shit could have been maintained for real, and maybe the parks probably seen the vibe. They probably felt it, and they had to flip that shit quick because it was going down a path that was like getting really crazy. I mean, they had blades in the Big O had blades back then. They did. I think all that shit's probably dried up by now. Y'all remember the old school SOB Trailblazers? That was wild, man. To see that shit. So, you know, hey, I'm hoping that I'm on point because the city does still feel a little bit safer. It's not all the way safe, but it's a little bit safer. And most of the money it's still really jam-packed inside the parks. But y'all let me know if there's some rockin' ass clubs off the beaten path that's kind of like in a secret mode, like the old DTA club downtown Lake Eola. They had that one spot for a quick minute that was kind of a fly secret club after hours joint. But let me know, anybody out there is doing something, shout you out, give you some shine. But outro shout outs, here they go, shouting out the homies: Irv Chulo, Father Lux, D128, Dr. Westlake, DJ J Mob, aka the Pip Dealer, Skyber Team Dolomite, Skyber Team Salanga, J Smooth on the beat, Airflow Systems of Central Florida with Big City Red. 10% off any HVAC service with the mention of this ad. If you need any HVAC services from Big City Red, hit them up through Skyber Team Dolomite at Proton Mail. Fix2fast.net, 360 Wave Kings with the Fly Wave brushes on Amazon. Check them out. Don't forget complimentary mentions and shout outs of any small businesses that you got right here on 2D Talks. Just hit me up, Skyber Team Dolomite at Proton Mail. For instance, if you need any real estate consulting, you're looking for some real good open house tours in Orlando and in the surrounding cities, hit up Mrs. Petra and Lodell Stanley. Consulting, buying or selling a home, mortgage broker help to get you an affordable refi. Hit them up. They handle all your real estate questions. Patra at theaccessrealty.com. And if you're in the Central Florida area and you need a ride to the port for your cruising excursions, hit up George over at the HGI by OIA. That's right, the Hilton Garden Inn by the Orlando Main Airport. Give him a text at 407-409-5433. He's driving the Benz Sprinter. You can fit 2 families in there, 10 packs. All the bags get you going to the port so that you can get on your boat and have a good cruise. Hit up George over at the Hilton Garden Inn, Orlando Airport. 407-409-5433. Shouts going out to the heavyweights: Flex, Boyce, Professor Black Truth, Star Report. Yeah, what's up with the Mac shout outs though? You know what I'm saying? Ken Ivy, Sharp, Vinnie Mac, Rody Mac, Gangsta Brizzout, Rock Newman. All you guys holding it down. Yo, one.
We are so candy.
All right, Dave Ski, one love. I'm out. Peace.
And I want to talk about Skyber. The first FBA to use Skyber after hearing this gets $100. Whoever uses it afterwards can still get tangibles on their worker accounts. Run a Skyber allowance order once a week. Your seeds gets commissions after 7 weeks. Get rewards for bouncing money within your family. Come on, get up on it. The only app helping FBAs practice group economics. Search Skyber app on Google Play or the App Store for details. Big up Diplo, System D, 128, DJ J-Ball, and special shout out to Dave Ski and his stinking ass. Dave, you a beast for making it happen. Skyber, y'all. Get the app right now. Yo, Dave Ski.
Skyber.org.
What's up, kin folks and loved ones? This is your main man, Slink Johnson, BKA Black Jesus, letting y'all know about Skyber, the customizable tipping app. Skyber's the only app willing to pay out reparations. Check it. The first FBA to use Skyber after hearing this gets $100. Whoever uses it afterwards can still get tangibles forwarded to their accounts. Ain't no law against companies helping with reparations, right? Let's stop all these coon babbling trends and let's set a trend to help FBA stack paper. Search Skyber app on Google Play or the App Store for more details. Big ups to Diplo, System D128, DJ J-Mob, and a special shout out to Lork D, aka Dave Ski, for making it happen. Skyber app, y'all.
Skyber.org. Skyber.org.